Hello everyone, in today's topic, we are going to talk about bearings. When stating the position of an object with reference to another object, the mountain lies to the northeast of this lake. An object lies to the east of P. Another way of describing the position of an object is to use bearings. So today we are going to talk about bearings and how to determine the bearings of an object from an object. What is bearing? Bearing is an angle indicating direction measured clockwise from the north. Clockwise meaning it is the direction of the clock. It relates the direction of an object with reference to another. For example, the mountain lies on a bearing of 45 degrees from this lake. So if we have this one, another one is an object is on a bearing of 90 degrees from P. So as you can see, when it comes to bearing, there are 3 digits. So note that we use a 3-digit number when stating the bearing. So take a look at this map. Let's draw a north line at the causeway. First, we are going to locate the causeway. So here it is, and then we are going to draw a north line. North line meaning the north, east, west, south. And then we are going to draw a line joining the causeway and Sentosa. So here's the Sentosa. Let us put a dot, and then let us draw a line. And from here, we have the bearing 164 degrees. So we can conclude that the bearing of Sentosa from causeway is 164 degrees. So supposing we have this diagram, we write down the bearing of A from O, B from O, C from O, and D from O. So first, we are going to measure clockwise from the north at O to the line joining OA to determine the bearing of A from O. So in doing this, so we have the arrow. So from O, going to the north, so we have angle A gives the bearing of A from O. So the bearing of A from O is 50 degrees because angle A is 50 degrees. Now let us determine the bearing of B from O. To determine so, we are going to move it clockwise from the north from point O. So as you can see, angle B gives the bearing of B from O. To determine angle B, we are going to subtract 40 from 180 degrees because we all know that a straight line measures 180 degrees. So we are going to subtract the remaining angle, which is 40 degrees. So 180 degrees minus 40 degrees is equal to 140 degrees. So the bearing of B from O is 140 degrees. Now let's move on to determining the bearing of C from O. So in here, we are going to move from O to length OC. So we name this angle as angle C. So angle C gives the bearing of C from O. And to determine angle C, we are going to add 180 degrees plus 30 degrees. Why we need to add 180 degrees? Because we already surpassed 2 quadrants, which is equal to 180 degrees. And the remaining or the additional angle, which is 30 degrees. So we get 210 degrees. So the bearing of C from O is 210 degrees. Now let us have the last one for this diagram. Let us determine the bearing of D from O. So from the north going to side OD, we have this angle, angle D. So angle D gives the bearing of D from O. And how do we get angle D? So we already surpassed 1, 2, 3 quadrants. And then we have the remaining angle, which is 20 degrees. So what do we need to do? We need to subtract it from 360 degrees. So angle D is equal to 360 degrees minus 20. It is equal to 340. So therefore, the bearing of C from O is 340 degrees. Now, let us have another one. So we are going to determine the bearing of O from A. So it is the reverse, and we only have one line in here. So we don't have quadrants. O from A, O from B, O from C, and the bearing of O from D. Now let us determine the bearing of O from A. To determine so, first we are going to separate the diagram for line OA. And then we are going to draw a north line at A and measure clockwise later on, okay? But before that, we have our alternate interior angles. So they are equal. So if this is angle X, it is equal to 65 degrees. And then we are going to measure clockwise from the north line, joining the line OA. So we name this angle as angle A. To compute for angle A, we are going to add angle X plus 180 degrees. Why 180 degrees? Because we have a line there already, and a line measures 180 degrees. And angle X is equal to 65 degrees. So 180 degrees plus 65 degrees is equal to 245 degrees. So the bearing of O from A is equal to 245 degrees. Now let us determine the bearing of O from B. So from here, we already separated the diagram containing line OB. So we are going to draw a north line at point B. And then we all know that alternate interior angles are congruent. So if this is angle B, it is equal to 54 degrees. Then we are going to measure clockwise from your north line, joining line OB. So we have angle Y. So angle Y is equal to 360 degrees minus angle B, because we all know that in a circle, it measures 360 degrees. Okay? So angle B is equal to 54 degrees. So 360 degrees minus 54 degrees is equal to 306 degrees. So therefore, the bearing of O from B is 306 degrees. Now let us have to determine the bearing of O from C. So in here, we already have the diagram containing line OC. Then we are going to draw a north line at C. Then we are going to have our alternate interior angles. So if this is angle C, it is equal to 43 degrees. So angle C is equal to 43 degrees. And looking at the diagram, if we are going to measure clockwise from the north line, joining line OC, it is equal to 43 degrees. So therefore, the bearing of O from B is 43 degrees. So now let us have the last one. Let us determine the bearing of O from D. First, we are going to have a separate diagram joining the line OB, and then The second one, we are going to draw a north line passing through point B. Then we have our alternate interior angles. They are equal. And then from our north line, we are going to measure clockwise, joining line OB. Okay? So from here, we are going to name this angle as angle D. Angle D will determine the bearing of O from D. So angle D is equal to 180 degrees minus 32 degrees, which is equal to 148 degrees. So the bearing of O from D is 148 degrees. So exercise time, do worksheet 9 in the Google Classroom. Please type your name, student number, and class before you answer. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe to my channel. See you again next time. Bye!